What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Live All In with Anthony Perez. Today, I really wanted to talk about something that has changed my life over the last 6 months, has helped me get better at communicating with people, helped me build my confidence, helped me really just be able to build something worth living. And that's how I sell life insurance and door-to-door sales. And before I get started, this isn't going to be about some magic sales script. This isn't going to be about how I pressure people because that is not what I do. It's not going to be about me convincing people to buy something that they don't want or don't need. It's about spending time in the field. What I've learned in this business and in this industry, it's not about actually selling people. It's about helping them understand why they even need this product, how it's going to benefit them. It's about listening to what their needs are in order to point them in the right direction. And it's about asking better questions. When we hear the objections, how are we responding to those? Is it just defensive, or are we responding back with a question? It's about helping families make decisions that give them peace of mind, not something that's going to break the bank for them monthly. So today I wanted to talk about my day-to-day process, what I've learned in the field, some objections that I hear every week, and how I approach those objections. And so every day I start my day at 7 a.m., get my mind right with prayer, read the Lord's word. Get my mind right is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, this industry is more mental than anything. If you're having a bad day, that's fine. The person before doesn't know. If you've had a bad week, that's fine. The next person does not know. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Every day is a new day and every hour is a new hour. And so by 8 a.m., I'm following up with potential clients, setting up appointments throughout my days, following up with new clients, and I'm checking in on people that have already had their policies for a couple months now. Now by 10 to 4 p.m., I'm typically out in the field doing door knocks, sitting in my appointments, or training new agents that I've just jumped on board with Retirement Income Life or new to the industry. But at the end of the day, consistency each day matters, and that's what I emphasize. It's not overworking a certain area or pressuring people, but it's about staying consistent in your approach and helping people to make the right decisions. And so a lot of questions that I get asked, and one of the most important, or one of the biggest ones I get asked all the time is it better to set appointments or cold door knock? And they both have their pros, they both have their cons. Appointments, higher sit ratio, you get more time with the client. It's a little bit softer. Cold door knocking, it's a lot more volume. Your confidence builds a lot quicker. That's what I'm more accustomed to, is cold door knocking. Your communication gets a lot sharper, being able to, understand what people's needs are when they're really giving you objections. And so I want to talk about some of the cons too. Cold door knocking, you drive around a little bit more, but appointments, they may not follow up with you at times. They may not actually set those, but it's about what you're willing to do more consistently, and that beats strategy any day of the week. Now, when we're approaching the door, very important, how are we standing? Body language is important. So are we smiling when we're walking up to the door? Are we, giving them squared off? Or are we standing at a slight angle? Are we showing our hands to them, having an open conversation with them? The goal, again, within these last 5 seconds when you're at the door, is not to sell them. In fact, it's to tell them exactly why you're there, who you are, in fact, and why it benefits them. Because at the end of the day, we're finding a solution for these people that they didn't even know they had. So when I'm already at the house, next thing I do is I'm starting to build rapport. That's the first step in my 5-step presentation. Second, I start to explain exactly why this is going to benefit them moving forward working with me. Because I'm a broker, I represent over multiple different carriers. So at the end of the day, I'm not here to stick you with one product or with one company, or to sell you the best thing since sliced bread, but I'm in fact making sure of 2 things, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You get the most amount of benefits for the most affordable rate to you. And then that follows up with the question, does that make sense? They start saying yes. That's great. And then I start to identify where they are. Because people usually reach out to me for one of three reasons. They're either overpaying of current coverage, they have the wrong type of coverage, whether an accidental, term, whatever the case may be, or they currently have no coverage at all. So then I ask, which one of these three categories do you fall in? From there, they're going to tell me one of the three. 9 times out of 10, what I've been noticing is a lot of people have coverage. And so at that point, my goal right there isn't to sell them, hey, let's go right into this new product. In fact, I'm going to say how much I appreciate the fact that they care enough for their family to get coverage in the first place. From there, I'm going to compare exactly what they have, and with the multiple different carriers that I represent, I'm going to be able to tell them exactly how much money I'm going to be able to save them. So from there, I'm going to give them two scenarios, their best case scenario and their worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I tell you to stay with exactly what you have. Worst case scenario, I'm able to save you some money and get you more coverage, or I'm able to get you more coverage, maybe even a check back in the mail. Does that make sense? They're going to say yes. From there, if they have no coverage at all, I'm going to ask them, well, when the good Lord calls, are you looking to be buried or are you looking to be cremated? Or however you want to phrase it. When you pass, are you looking to be buried or are you going to be looking to be cremated? From there, I'm going to show them three different options, from the smallest, middle, and the largest rate that they may be approved for. And then from there, one objection as you get into it, they may start saying, oh, but I already got coverage. Never brought it up before. Or when you're at the door. And so again, it's important to say how you understand that. Acknowledge that. Your job isn't to replace what they currently have. Relieve some of that pressure off of them. What you can do though, your job as an agent is to compare what they currently have. And like I said, with that worst case scenario, the most I can do is save you some money, maybe get you more coverage and a check back in the mail. But it all starts with explaining why being a broker benefits them. A lot of these people are unfortunately going with the companies directly, or they're dealing with people that are just over the phone. And so another objection that I hear is, I need to think about it. But it's important when they say, when you hear I need to think about it, you need to realize what it is that they're actually saying. And so it's either their budget, uncertainty, they have a lack of understanding of something, or there's not enough confidence in the product yet or in you. So from there, as an agent, I don't got to double down and dig into them more and pressure them. Kind of want to relieve some of that. So I'm going to ask them, what specifically is it that you're looking to think about? If they chose one of the products within the three after I acknowledge that, and I asked them, hey, look, we got to find out the next step in this process to see if you're even approved for this coverage. If they tell me they need to think about it after that, that's telling me right there that this still may not be in their budget. And so from there, as an agent, I don't got to double down into making them sign up for that product. I'm going to ask them, what is something that you have set aside comfortably to cover your final expenses and leave aside for your family? And if you suspect its price, another question that I like to ask is, if this was completely free, would you have decided to move forward today? And so when I ask that helps me understand their true objection. If they say yes, that means that, it is just a budget thing. So I know that, whatever the policy that I was showing them that may have been the lowest, that still is not in their budget. So then I'm going to acknowledge and help them come to reasoning that any blessing in itself is a blessing. Any money that you set aside for them is going to help make sure that your loved ones aren't having to do GoFundMes. But at the end of the day, the goal isn't to continue to pressure them. The goal is to give them peace of mind. And so from there, you want to show them a lower rate maybe. That's what has given me the highest results from there. If it is still a budget thing, let's make sure they can even get qualified just to get their foot in the door with some coverage. And then another objection that I hear, I may need to talk about it with my spouse, my loved one, my partner, my kids. My son handles this, my daughter handles this, my grandkids handle this, my neighbor, whoever, right? And so again, I don't got to double down on that. I respect the decision, because at the end of the day, that tells me that someone else finds this important. And so I want to communicate with them. I don't want to pressure this homeowner, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, to start giving me their information unwillingly. or have them call the cops on me. Instead, I want to tell them how important it is that they understand that we can save this person some money. We can get them more coverage. And so I respond, I completely understand. And I want you to talk with them. I want to make sure that they fully understand. But it's important that they understand the next steps. And so right there is when we got to let them know that the next steps is finding out whether or not the company is even going to approve them for this coverage. Because as they talk about it and they need to think about it and they want to talk about it with other people, we don't even know yet. And when they filled this out, they were looking for peace of mind, not another headache, not another uncertainty. And so I want to relieve that pressure from them and give you certainty in this, that you are approved for this coverage. Does that make sense? And you're going to see how that starts to relieve the pressure from them. And just in the delivery, the tonality, it's going to make a huge difference. But it's important to stay calm, stay patient with them, not get overly frustrated, not to start adjusting your seat or stand up. That's the moment that you want to actually be more relaxed. Let them know that you completely understand. Don't sound desperate for their business. Don't start overly talking. Let them do the thinking. Let them start doing the talking. At the end of the day, you're there to serve them and help them realize why this is going to be important for them. When families are overwhelmed, they have 1,000,001 things going on. Life insurance may be like the Grim Reaper to them. They're bombarded each day with TV ads, mailers, phone calls, internet ads just coming in, whether they're just looking to relax in social media. So our job as agents isn't to double down and pressure them and make them sign up for this policy. It's to simplify, educate them on their products, and guide them to a protection that's comfortable for them and that can leave a legacy behind for their family and their loved ones. Now, another thing that's very important, and this is not only impacts agents, but the families, in fact, it's don't skip over the health questions. As you know, as much as you see on social media that it doesn't matter, just run over, it's important. It's important to make sure that you're asking the right things, because if the carriers find something pre-existing and Mr. and Mrs. Smith pass, unfortunately, that falls on the agent that was not 100% honest, or that may fall on the homeowner for not being 100% honest. But integrity matters in this industry. It's about protecting the families, not just about receiving a commission. This industry isn't just a bank to take and borrow from and continue to write and overlap policies. We see that a lot now in this industry, unfortunately. And so it's important to be 100% honest, be transparent with these homeowners, let them know that you're there to serve them, help them out. And that's how you're going to be building something worth living. You're going to start seeing referral business come in, because people buy people before they ever just buy a product. That's the most important thing. They're going to like you for an agent. They're going to like you for a person because they know that you are honest. They know that you care. They know that whatever you did to help them, that was the best thing moving forward. So it's important to ask better questions, not double down and pressure them. Stop chasing sales. Stop chasing your tail, looking to, scam people out of their money. But it's important to write good business, help people understand the products that they're in, because at the end of the day, that's how this business is going to become a lot easier for the agents. That's how this industry is going to get a lot easier for you. So at the end of the day, the biggest lesson the field has taught me is that people don't need another salesperson. They don't need another person to knock on their door and start pressuring them into something. They need somebody willing to listen to what their needs are, somebody willing to understand their situation, and somebody that's willing to slow down long enough to help them make a good decision. And if you're a newer agent, focus less on the perfect script and focus more on just becoming better at communicating, because confidence comes with repetition. And trust is just going to come from genuinely caring about the people that you are sitting with. So I really appreciate you guys spending this time with me today. And if you got any value from this episode, I would like you to share it with another agent, existing, or somebody that just may have questions about the industry. Comment all in and let me know what topics you'd like me to cover next. This is Live All In with Anthony Perez. Let's live all in.